Hi, I'm here once again to cover recent allegations against Hillsong founder Brian Houston. The new global pastor of Hillsong, Phil Dooley, has announced that Pastor Brian Houston has resigned following an internal investigation that found he behaved inappropriately towards two women. Two controversies 3 and 10 years ago. Pastor Houston is said to have sent an improper text to one woman and had entered into the hotel room with consent of another woman for 40 minutes, whilst under the influence of alcohol and sleeping tablets. Pastor Brian confirmed the hotel room allegation, but affirmed he had lost his keys and required time to recover from the sedative effects of the combination of alcohol and sleeping tablets. Controversial, but what evidence do we have of wrong? Both Pastor Brian and the woman state nothing sexual occurred, but this has not stopped the church from stating he behaved inappropriately and have accepted Pastor Brian's resignation. Some of you listening might be thinking, well, this is appalling, while some others might think this is not so bad, particularly because we don't know all the details. But it's important to accept a fact of life. Once you start digging, you will find dirt. We are all human. We like to judge public figures by how things seem, not by facts. What I find so hypocritical these days is that we judge ourselves by our own good or harmless intentions and judge others by their actions. But when it comes down to public figures, we judge them by perceptions. It's really convenient, isn't it? Everyone is innocent in their own eyes. So what happened exactly? Let's scrutinize the evidence. The text in question sent almost 10 years ago was as follows: "If I was with you, I'd like to kiss and cuddle you," which suggests that there was a prior text conversation with this staff member, and it went from being professional to unacceptable. The woman was rightly offended. Unsurprisingly, she resigned. Considering her response, we can make a fair assumption that Pastor Houston introduced a new type of language into their relationship. He left the professional bubble. I must emphasize we don't know the context, and although it was a silly and offensive text to send, it could, in context, have been an exaggerated liberal way of showing gratitude for a job well done, or perhaps not. Point is, we don't know. Pastor Brian apologized and personally paid her wages from the time she resigned till she found her next job. There is no evidence that has come forward to show an ongoing pattern of behavior from Pastor Brian Houston. Some could argue he did it just to keep things quiet. Now others could say he took responsibility, maybe both. But either way, we're not in his heart. We can only judge his actions and not his intentions. By their fruits you shall know them. Has all the good works the man has done in supporting hundreds of charities all around the world been forgotten, put to the side because of his humanity? He did the right thing in compensating the woman for her loss of work. My heart goes out to the woman who had to step down from a job she loved, but facts do matter. He compensated her. That is admission of wrong. Isn't Christianity about admitting wrong, confessing our faults to one another? But who in their right mind sends a text like that to someone else you have no intimate relationship with? Unsurprisingly, Pastor Brian revealed he has struggled with anxiety, the kind of stress associated with hands-on supervision of a global church brand, and he used sleeping tablets as remedy, which also impaired his judgments at this time. The next allegation also involved his use of sleeping tablets to control anxiety, but worse, mixed with alcohol after a late-night work event, which isn't uncommon in Aussie or Western culture. I know some of you are judging him right now, especially from certain cultures. Why should a Christian be drinking? But remember, Jesus' first public miracle was turning water into wine. Just saying. Furthermore, Apostle Paul said to the Romans, "Don't judge each other for what you eat or what you drink." Although Hillsong's investigation does not confirm if Pastor Houston was drunk, but a glass of wine along with anxiety tablets for sleeping is a deadly mix, enough to make one feel dreadful. And 40 minutes sounds like sufficient time to let the worst wear off. No one is perfect. It breaks my heart to see Christians become so cynical and accusatory. We shouldn't judge anyone without facts. Even in the secular world, we wouldn't defame a man's character based on these revelations alone. The woman insisted nothing sexual went on. Pastor Bobby Houston, his wife, hasn't put out a public statement confirming adultery. On what grounds do we condemn this man? Requested the Roman governor Pontius Pilate in his address to the religious elders and organizations lining up to condemn Jesus. I wash my hands too from your branch of Christian condemnation. Apostle Paul said to the Galatian church, if you bite and devour each other, watch out, or you will be destroyed by each other. Pastors, if you train your congregation to bite at Hillsong, the very same congregation will one day destroy each other, perhaps even you, with cynicism. All of you who judge, let him who has no sin cast the first stone. Followed by, woman, where are they? Has no one condemned you? This is a woman who was caught in the actual act of adultery, being accused by other hypocritical men who had themselves committed adultery. Hillsong is an evangelical church. It needs to be relatable to the world. To Hillsong, I do have this to say. Jesus napped on his journeys. He slept on boats on his way to minister. Rest is important to a functional mind. Our spirits might be Christian, but not our mind, not our flesh, the emotions, desires, and instincts. Anyone working in a high-profile, high-octane job environment needs to ensure rest is part of routine. It's wisdom not to get burnt out and become reactionary. Tiredness causes lots of road accidents, but it also causes a lot of scandals in churches. It's a common acknowledgement that pastors are most physically vulnerable to sexually inappropriate behavior after ministering to others. The spirit is willing, but the flesh is weak. Thanks guys, and please subscribe to keep our channel going. God bless.